Hello, I'm Jeff Meckla of Jmeck scope mounts, and today we're going to install a low profile aluminum scope mount right here on a round receiver Mosin Nagant rifle. A few of you have emailed me and asked me for pointers on how to keep the low profile aluminum mount centered on the receiver, being as it's able to pivot around on the receiver when you're tightening it down. Whereas on a typical hex receiver, the 45-degree angles on the bottom of the mount make the mount self-centering as it's tightening, and a little bit easier. And I've installed a bunch of these and have a few tricks on how to do it. So let's get started and I'll show you how I do it. Alright, let's get a little closer here. I have this rifle partly assembled just to speed up the time it takes here. So we're going to go ahead and first thing, remove your bolt. Make sure your rifle is unloaded. That's the very first thing you want to do whenever you're working on a rifle. Then we're going to remove our magazine, remove our handguard, and take our barreled receiver out of the rifle. We'll get this stock out of the way. And we're going to place the barreled receiver in there upside down. On a band for the mount, I'm not sure if you can see that very well, but there's a folded edge here and then there's a folded edge here. There is a difference between these two edges, and just to be able to view it a little bit better, we're going to use an unblued band, and hopefully you can see that a little bit better. And this fold is 5/16. This fold is 3/8. And what you want to do when you're bending the band is you want the 3/8 inch fold to be facing downwards. So this is our 3/8 fold. So we're going to place it on the rifle like this. Notice I've got this band marked so it's centered, so I can get my center on it. You'll place it on the receiver centered like that, with the 3/8 edge facing down, and bend it like so to form to the receiver. That's your first step. Now we're going to move over to the vise. And we're going to take our band, we're going to place it in the vise here. Typically you'd probably want to have some paper or something in the vise, but this is an unblued band and I'm not worried about scratching it. So put it in your vise. And then you bend it to about 90 degrees. So now we have the folded side, that's 3/8, and then we have the 5/16 folded side facing downward. So on the right side of the rifle, that's what you'll see, rather than seeing a fold on the outside. Much cleaner looking. It'll work either way, but it looks a lot better if you do it like so. Next we're going to take a mount, and today we're going to put on a low profile aluminum mount. So I have an aluminum mount, low profile aluminum mount. This is it'll be assembled like this when you receive it in the mail. Make sure your screws are tight on the side here. and go ahead and remove the rail. And you should have a piece that looks like this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our receiver here, and we'll get our screws. And you have your nut for tightening the band, the 2 band tension screws, they're 3/4 inch long, and then you have 2 screws for attaching the band to the opposite side of the mount. So I'm going to try to get this up here so you can see. Hopefully my arms won't get in the way too much. The mount's going to sit on there like that, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and slide the mount back over to the magwell opening area where I got a little more room to work. I'm going to attach the band like so. I'm going to snug them up fairly tight, but yeah, let's put a little more torque on them. Alright, so that's good there. And I'm going to move it over like so. Take my nut, get my band tensioning screws started. I'm going to put them about 1/2 to 3/4 of the way through the nut. Then I'm going to take and slide my mount up onto the receiver. Like so. Alright. Now, let's get over the vise and get our vise set up. I'm trying to get this a little bit lower so you can get a little bit better of a view there. Now, for this part of it, there are several things that you can use to hold this from pivoting around. And what I'm going to use for my reference point is this lug here and this flat surface here. Now, if I have them clamped, because that's flat on the bottom and this is flat on the top, it's going to self-center, and if it is off a little bit, just a little tapping will get me where I need to be. Another thing you can do as well to check for your centering before you start would be to place a level on your sight, and when you're level on the sight and then level There, now you got a good point to start from. We're going to open our vise here. You could take at this point and put a clamp between the two and you know, clamp it down this way. But I always use a vise. So we're going to get ourselves something to protect the mount from scratching. In this case, it's going to be a business card. So we'll put our business card in the vise here, point the muzzle down towards the floor, slide it down in there. And we're going to tap it a little bit more, get it lined up a little bit better. Always use a wooden block. Never tap on the mount with any kind of steel object. You don't want to mar it or damage the finish. Alright. We're lined up. Let me show you another thing that you want to watch for before we go ahead and tighten up this band. You want to make sure that the front of the mount comes pretty much right onto the end of the receiver, right where the barrel screws in. There's probably a lot of ways that you can do this. You could probably also do this with some electrical tape or duct tape around the front half of the mount base. You could use radiator hose clamp, C-clamp, vise, anything to